Welcome to Cage Minds. I'm Mika Frankl. We got a special interview coming at you today. Normally, we're talking to fighters, and today we got a combat sports athlete, but a collegiate one. Collegiate wrestler Angelita Altamirano. Thank you for the time, ma'am. How you doing?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm doing pretty good. I'm here in Iowa right now. It's already dark and snowy and cold outside, but doing good.
A Las Cruces native who now is in college at William Penn out there in Iowa and made just a little bit of history at her time here in New Mexico, finishing out your senior year as the first ever woman state champion. I mean, talk to me just about that huge accomplishment first.
Yes, 3 years ago, my sophomore years of high school, the state of New Mexico decided to do a girls exhibition. So they wanted to see like how many female wrestlers were in the sport. And so I went out there my first year, not even knowing anything about it. Like, what is this? I kind of grew up in it because my uncle was he was a wrestler in high school, but I had no idea like within my lifetime they would like sanction girls wrestling and like be having a girls division like at state was going to be like a real thing. So like just seeing the process and the sport grow so much, like getting to be a part of that was insane because like girl power, like heck yeah.
So, real quick, wrestling was something that you were already interested in before they sanctioned it?
Yeah, so when I started wrestling, I had to wrestle boys who were like 12 pounds heavier than me, and it sucked. There was no girls. Like, I got my butt kicked for about 2 years, and then more girls started popping out. And I'm light. I only in high school I was like 95 pounds, so I was wrestling like 106 boys, and then we got some girls coming in, and the all the other schools, but Oñate, had at least 3 girls, and then finally on Yate, we had our 2 girls, and the sport just started growing, and it was really cool.
What was that like at first, though? What was it like joining the team? What was just that like at your own school and getting the boys used to you on the team? And that, how was that introduction like?
Okay, so I think I kind of got it was a little bit different for me because the head coach was my uncle. And so in high school, he told me, he was like, I'm going to put you down in the roster because he had a small team. And he was like, you can be manager, whatever. He's like, I just want like your name on there. Is that okay? And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm going to try it. Why not? He was like, there's a tournament this weekend. Come to practice all week. See if you like it. And like, let's go. And our team only had about 6 boys. And even then it was kind of like a struggle to get people to come out, like the sport, like you have some schools, some programs established, like people want to go there, and our school, it just unfortunately that wasn't the case. It was like trying to get people to go out. And so my team was very welcoming and very supportive of me. I know in most cases the guys aren't. Like out at tournaments when I first started, there was boys who wouldn't even shake my hand. Like I've had matches forfeited because like a guy didn't want to wrestle me, and it was like, dude, like I don't want to wrestle you just as much as you don't want to wrestle me, but like we're here. And so even coaches like would look at me like, what are you doing? And that first year was definitely rough. I think if my team wasn't so like supportive and like taking care of me, and especially because like my Theo was the coach, so he had an eye out. But like yeah, it definitely was a little sexist. Like wrestling's a man's sport. Like what are you doing here? So I kind of had to hold my own. And in Cruces, the wrestling community is really tight. So once I started doing good, and they were like, okay, like we see you, and I got some respect. And by my senior year, coming here to college, I can say like I had the city like supporting me. Like they were proud, boys and girls, and even like some people from like there was a couple wrestlers from like Silver City or somewhere, and they were like, oh, like you're like, what are you doing here? Like you shouldn't be wrestling. And then like the next year, the coach's daughter was like out there in New Mexico like wrestling too, and she had been wrestling, I think, but I was like, that's cool. Like she felt welcome, like there was more people like popping up, and I was just like, just to be a part of that and to see the transition was like so amazing.
Was there some degree of triumph in making it through that first season?
Oh yeah, wrestling's hard. Like when a guy first slammed me on my head, I was like, whoa, like I don't want to do this. I was like, no, but I gotta. I got to wrestle some experienced girls in Texas. And I did really good. And I was like, you know what, this is awesome. Like, I feel great. I was like, it's not like like I go out there and they're not just like manhandling me. Like, I can, like, this is even. And I started doing pretty good in the tournaments in El Paso. And any, like, we only had 2 or 3 tournaments there my sophomore year. So that first year of trying to get experience, get exposure, I was really just like I would wrestle girls in New Mexico like 20 pounds heavier than me because I was like, you're female, like, can we wrestle, please? Like, it's not going to count, it's exhibition, but like, let's go. And then my junior year, we got a few more tournaments in El Paso. So it was cool because like I started going against these girls in Texas who had been wrestling like forever. Like, I would look them up and I was like, oh my gosh, this girl has a record of what? She's a what? And I wrestled one female and I lost in 15 seconds and I cried. And I was like, I've been beat by boys, but to a girl, 15 seconds. And I was like, I'm done wrestling. I was like, I'm not good at this sport. Like, no, what, like, and I was so like, you know, it's emotionally. And I was like, a girl, like, I really, like, I was really taken. And then I found out she was like a state placer in Texas. And I was like, what? And the next time I wrestled her, you know what? We made it all the way past the first period. And I was like, I'm happy. That's improvement. And each time, like, I would just base it off of these girls, like, who I was getting to wrestle in El Paso. Okay, if I can just get a little bit better each time I wrestle them, like, it's gonna pay off, you know. And I had never thought like, oh, college athlete. Growing up, I played soccer. I played soccer since I was 4. I did MMA for like 6, 7 months. A few things here and there, but I was like, no, I won't be a college athlete. Like, it's not for me. And then this wrestling thing just kind of happened, and yeah. But okay, so the junior year, getting the experience, more experienced girls. Then coming senior year in New Mexico, we had more tournaments in El Paso, and next thing I know, I go to a tournament in Albuquerque. Boom, girls division, and I was like, there was only 3 girls in it, but you know what? It was the start. Like, and because I'm a lightweight, so as the weights go up, you know, you have different people here and there, but it was it was amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, first girls tournament in New Mexico, like, this is awesome. And every tournament after that, they had a girls division, and it was just like, it wasn't even a question. Like, and there was girls teams popping up, like, and I was like, where have, like, what? And it was crazy. It was really crazy.
How did you progress all the way to the point where I believe heading into that senior year state tournament, I believe you were 20-1?
Yeah. So I just, you know, honestly, it's getting beat up by the boys, I think. You know, wrestling really is like, it's brew, and in high school it's folk style. So like, I was like, oh, like, it's a game of chess, you know, like, technique, like, muscle won't win. Like, it doesn't matter, you know. I always say technique over muscle. And so wrestling the boys really got me there. I had to like get good at like what I like, get good being on the bottom, get good like getting put into the mat. All that with the boys, it was just like continuous, like, how much can you take, you know? And mentally, I was going through a lot at the time. My senior year was pretty rough. I had actually moved to Arizona, moved out of my house, and I came back to New Mexico like the day I could be eligible to wrestle. It was November 4th because that was the deadline. That was the last day. Moved back, and it was just wrestling. I was doing like 3-day practices, just like grinding it out. And you know, get anytime I'd go to El Paso, taking advantage of getting to wrestle those girls. And my senior year, I kind of just started winning. My first tournament, I came out, it was a win. My next tournament, I came out, it was a win. I had one loss on my record, and she was the Texas state champ. And I asked her for a rematch. I was like, let's wrestle again. Like, come on, like, the community wants it, it'll be good. And I had wrestled her my sophomore year when I first started wrestling, but I didn't really know the rules. And so I choked her out and she tapped. And like, the ref, like, I lost the match because like I wasn't allowed to do that, but I didn't know, you know. And so like, that was crazy. And then we wrestled again, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the same girl. And she leg rode me, and I had no idea how to defend it. I had never been leg ridden by a girl, and boys wouldn't leg ride me because like, I'm so small. Like, why are they going to take the time to do that, you know? So that whole week, that was my first loss, right? And that was in Texas. And that whole week, I was going to get to see her again at the Bowie tournament. So all right, how do we defend a leg ride? Like, let's go all week, just practicing, getting ready. And I go to that tournament, and she's not wrestling. She's there, but she's not wrestling. I'm like, why aren't you wrestling, dude? Like, I wanted to see, again, like, where do I stand? I actually ended up winning that tournament, and that was crazy because I didn't expect that. And it was the first time, I want to say, someone from New Mexico, female, had won that tournament. So I was really happy because starting off, I placed, I want to say, like, seventh there my first time or something like that. So coming back and like getting to win it, for me, I was like, this is awesome. But it was really just like continuing and grinding through the sport, and it was kind of just taking it with like, all right, like, continuing the practice through the tournaments, like, this was a win, this was awesome, but like, this girl is out there running right now and I'm in here, like, no, let's go. And so it was really just like 100% just like grind. But and mentally, like, that's all I was focusing on at the time.
Got to hear about it. What's the emotions like of winning state, being the first woman picking that title up?
So honestly, like, that in itself is like just crazy. Like, to think, like, for one, like, female, like, as a female, to come in and get their own division, like, with the boys, like, alongside, like, not separate, like, we're both here, we're both doing it. That was really cool because it was all about like, we're both putting in the same amount of work, but like, it's an unfair, like, and so getting like both girls, both boys, like, yes. I also think, for me, winning state didn't really hit me until like a week or so afterwards. That night I actually got like really depressed. It was like, yeah, it was a little weird. I definitely think like that when you hit a really high, it's easy to go crashing into a low. And so for me, it was kind of like that year, everything that was going on in my life was like on hold. And once I won state, it was like, you just did this. And it was like, this is insane. Like, what? And like, I just felt like I was just like right there. I was like, what? And my body was just kind of in shock, I think. Cause like, once it hit me after the fact, and now like I look back and I was like, wow, like, that was really me. Like, that's crazy.
And then obviously in college now on scholarship to wrestle. What did that mean to you reaching that pinnacle? You didn't believe you were going to get there and you're a college athlete on scholarship.
Yeah. So this was completely the universe because I didn't set up any like recruiting things or have my videos out there. I'm not even, you can't even find me on track wrestling. So like, I don't, I, it was, yeah, the universe. They were hosting a clinic in El Paso, and we had a tournament in Cruces that day. And my coach was like, hey, like, there's this college coach, I think you would like him. Like, you should go over there and miss the tournament. I was like, are you crazy? Like, why would I miss a tournament? Like, I don't want to like go wrestle. So we go to El Paso and we go to the school, and they're like, there's no clinic. And I was like, what? Like, my coach told me, like, I have like this, like, the information right here. Like, they said, like, this is the date. Like, and they were like, no, like, there's no wrestling here. And it took us like 30 minutes looking around, talking to the principal, the athletic director. And then finally, I think it was a custodian or someone was like, oh, they're back, like, in the other side of the building. So I go, and at this point, I'm like, I'm so late. Like, I don't want to go in there. Like, this is embarrassing. And I go in there, and they're the girls there, and like, they're like, almost, you can tell they're already all sweaty, like they've been going. And I just felt bad. I was like super late, but the coach, he reminded me so much of my field. Very technical. He was nice. I came in, I was like, I got lost. He was like, no worries. And it was just like a really good, it was just a really good vibe. And I was like, you know what, this is kind of cool. So I filled out the information card, was like, thank you, that was it. Told my Theo, I was like, it was good, I'm glad I went, learned a little bit, didn't really think anything of it. And then about a month later, he started messaging me, and I was actually doing really good with my tournaments at the time. And I was like sending him my videos, and I was like, hey, like, I won. And I was like, I won another tournament. And it just kind of kept coming up. And I had a trip planned to come out here and check out the school, but COVID kind of said no. So I decided, you know what, without seeing the school or the facilities, that I was going to take a chance, and I signed. And yeah, and we had our first tournament on the 9th, and I was the first win in history for the women's team here. So
Not to mention up what, one or two weight classes to get that win, I heard.
yeah, so I weighed in at 102 pounds. I stepped on the scale, and the girl I wrestled was 116 pounds.
What was that match like? I just watched it, but what is that like dealing with somebody with that weight advantage?
Oh, so as you can in the video you saw, she rolled me like twice, and I didn't. Freestyle is new to me. In high school, you wrestle folk style, so the rolls are a little bit different, and I didn't even know like I was so close. Like our points were so close. Like I was gonna get text like if she rolled me again, and I had no idea because like I'm just wrestling. Like I'm not looking at the score, you know. And like just her being able to move me, I was like, crap, like it was right there. It was just that brute strength. And I was like, okay. I was like, this is like a boy again. The only difference is I don't have to fight on bottom. I can just lay there. And so after I kind of was like, all right, let's go. Like, like I wrestle boys. Like, nope. It's kind of like flipping that switch. And it's like, you know what? Yeah, you're stronger. But at the end of the day, like, who really, it's like, who's going to take the most, you know? And I want it was hype. I wanted to win.
You get that win, you're in school right now, studying computer science is your major. How did you enjoy the light show after the victory?
That was amazing. I had never experienced anything like that. Never like with 100% like all eyes on you. Like the environment was awesome. It made wrestling a lot more fun. It made the spirit of the room like a lot more like vibrant. Like you know, it made the spirit great.
Did you ever think, sitting here so young, that you'd be making history in wrestling, that you'd be out there doing something that people hadn't done before and helping the sport really kick off for young women here in the state of Mexico?
No, I did not, man. My, you know, my Theo would pick on me growing up. He's like, "You only know the armadillo." Like, no, and like, you know, just like cousins picking on cousins, and I was like, "Nah, like that's not for me." Like, I played soccer, I did golf. I was like, "This is cool," but I yeah, it was honestly like such a found love that when I started doing it, just like 100%, it's on your body. Like, yes, you have a team, but at the end of the day, it's how you perform like individually. Like, you can't blame anyone else. Like, yeah, it's crazy. I'm really happy that I stuck it out and that I'm doing this because I feel like to see how much the sport grew in those 3 years. Like now it's like the sport was a little bit dying. Like, you know, come on, we needed to do something. And so just like even little girls, like I love it. I really hope like in the years to come that they have a full on like girls state, girls tournaments. Like that would be really cool.
Seeing the sport grow, and then seeing also seems like you've had a lot of support, a big foundation of support there. You've mentioned your uncle. I heard about you from your mother's Facebook post about the article getting your first win. So how big of a cheerleader has she been for you?
Oh my gosh, my mother, amazing. She's over here with the snack bags, with the you got your chia seeds, your almond, your meat, your granola. She's like B12, everything like amazing, absolutely amazing. Was at all the tournaments, recording it.
But so she's been really an important influence for you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely just 100% supportive. When I first started, she told me I could wrestle under one condition that I wouldn't wrestle boys. And so that first year, sophomore year, obviously my Theo was like, "Hey, we're gonna get these tournaments in Texas. You know, she can try it out." And we came out only getting like 2 tournaments there. And I was like, you know, I'm putting in this work. I'm practicing. I want to wrestle the guys because that's my only option. So I kind of had to sit her down and be like, "Hey, like you got to work with me here." And so the first few tournaments, it was a little rough. Like I feel like she had to hold the mama bear back a little bit, you know, and not go off on this little high school boy. So it definitely was a transition, but I think that it like her support definitely made it so much easier to just like keep pushing through it.
And how much mental strength have you gained from everything that you've went through with wrestling?
Oh my gosh, so much. wrestling really shows you like if you can I'd say any like physical type of sport really shows you like what mentally you can take, because sometimes it's like you're there and you're tired and you're like, you know what, my arm is about to pop out of my socket, and like and you just have to like turn that switch mentally and be like, you know what, no, not today. I am not gonna have my arm be popped out of this socket. We're gonna do this. We're gonna stand up, like breathe, come on, get it together, let's go. So it really is like being like your own mental like your little a little coach in there, you know, in your head, like telling yourself, hey, like you got this, you can do it, like come on. So
Man, what does toughness mean to you? Because I mean, it sounds like you just have loads of it.
shoot, I think toughness is honestly like perseverance. Yeah, it really is. Like, cause I mean, you can take so much on your body, you know, like, but it really at the end of the day, it's mentally like if you can take it, cause like, yeah, the pain is there, like it hurts, like you're gonna have bruises all over you, okay, but it's gonna be like mentally, okay, was this bruise worth it? What did I do to get this bruise? No, we're good. Come on, fine, let's go. So it's just, I guess, pushing through it.
Angelita, it's been great getting to talk to you. I've taken up a bunch of your time already this evening. I mean, thank you for telling me your incredible story. This is so awesome to hear and to see you, blazing your own trail.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you for, asking me these questions and bearing with my loss of my train of thought and rambling a little bit. So thank you.
Awesome. Everybody, keep up with cageminds.com. Angelita, again, thank you for the time.
Thank you.